Welcome to the Family Brand Show. We're Chris and Melissa Smith of FamilyBrand.com, husband and wife, parents of 5, and we want to help you take back your family and to live life on your terms.
And we know being a family can feel really overwhelming. Parents tell us they feel like they're being pulled in a million different directions. It's so challenging to navigate the uncertainty and all the chaos that's happening in the world right now.
And that's why we want to bring you every single week actionable tips and strategies that you can implement in your daily life to become a better parent, to become a better spouse, and to build a stronger family. And look, there's never been a better time and a more important time than right now to take back your family. You can define what your family stands for, or the world is going to do it for you. And the world needs strong families now more than ever. And it starts right here with your family.
So if you're a longtime listener to the Family Brand Podcast, you know that we love talking about this topic every year around this time. And that is Dia De Los Muertos. And before you turn off the episode and be like, I don't want to hear about Dia De Los Muertos, here's out, because there is some pretty compelling research as to why you might want to keep listening and why you might want to celebrate the holiday for your family this year.
Is it Dia De Los Muertos or Dia De Los Muertos?
I guess it depends on, the language.
How
your
you want to
language,
say it?
Your first language.
Yeah, this was Melissa's idea, and it's been really fun. Our family looks forward to it every year. Our kids get into it. Because it could just be, let's celebrate the Day of the Dead and let's dress up. And that's awesome. Like, you could have a lot of fun. And if you are familiar with the movie Coco, and if you're not, that's going to be, I think, one of our recommendations, right? Is to watch that movie with the family. The movie Coco is awesome because there's a lot of profoundness in that movie about the power of a child knowing their family history and like where they come from. And that's something you can totally do with this Dia De Los Muertos party, if you will. And it could be a party for just your family. You can invite friends and neighbors, but it's been super fun for our family.
Okay, before we get into it, let's start at the very beginning. What is Dia De Los Muertos? It wasn't, I know Chris said it was one's idea. We actually got invited to a party from a friend several years ago, probably 6 years ago. And that inspired us to continue celebrating the holiday, and we celebrate it every year. So Dia De Los Muertos is a holiday celebrated in Mexico. Translated, it is Day of the Dead. And it's a way to honor your ancestors and honor your heritage in a way. And I'm going to talk in this episode about how we, over the years, have celebrated it. We even had a friend, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, from Mexico come to our celebration and talk to us a little bit more specifically like how it is celebrated in Mexico, where she grew up, and that was really fun. So this may not be how it's celebrated in Mexico, how we celebrate it, but this is how we would adapt it best for our family. I'm trying to decide if we should talk about like the power of family history first, or just talk about how to do it.
I think it would be, again, if you've been a long-time podcast listener, you know that there is some really compelling research that we've shared and an article that we can link to in the show notes of this podcast about the power of your children knowing a little bit about their heritage and their ancestors, where they come from. Like, the research is actually very compelling as to what it does for a child's sense of identity, resilience, their feeling of belonging. So suffice it to say, it's really important that your children know about their family history and their heritage. And the more they know, the better. But also, even if they just know a little bit, it's amazing. And so it's an opportunity to have fun, but bring that into your Dia De Los Muertos celebration.
And I think that's what I love about celebrating this most of all, is it's a way where we kind of built in that every year we are going to talk about our family history, our family members, but it's in a way that's not like, okay, kids, sit down, we're going to talk about family history. It's a way that feels fun and everyone looks forward to it. And we've baked it in as a tradition, which is also a really powerful thing for families too, is having those traditions that you consistently adhere to on a regular basis. And that article that Chris was referencing is called The Stories That Bind Us. And I will try and link that in the show notes. Sometimes it's behind a paywall, so hopefully it shows up for you, because it goes into a little bit more of the actual research and power in kids knowing their family history. Okay, so story of how we celebrate the holiday, how you could, and just the different experiences over the years. probably in 2018, 2019, we had a friend when we were living in Gilbert who invited us to her celebration, and she held it in her backyard. Dia De Los Muertos is November 1st and 2nd, and I don't remember if we celebrated it on the holiday. Usually we just celebrate it on a Sunday around that day, a Sunday or Monday, which is how we've chosen to celebrate it. But she invited us over. There's several families that she had included in the invite, and we were asked to bring a framed picture of a family member who had passed on, and also a dish, it was like a potluck. So to bring some food that reminded us of that. I didn't really know what to expect, but once we got there, it was such an amazing night. I remember we had our kids. I really wanted to involve them, and so we had them bring a picture too, and then they had the opportunity to get up in front of the small crowd there and share about the family members that they had selected, and then it was just a fun night to eat together with neighbors. And then fast forward the next year.
Well, so at that party, what was cool is they had an ofrenda up, just like in the movie Coco. So everyone took the picture of their family member, put it on the ofrenda. So it was cool to just see everyone's family members and then eat food that was unique to, it was either a food that particular family member loved, or it was food from that heritage. Like if your ancestor was from England or Scotland or Ireland or wherever it was. Yeah, dishes that were unique to that. So it was really fun.
It was. And it was super meaningful. You left the night being like, wow, that was a really special.
Yeah, there was a really powerful spirit and energy there of honoring these people who had made such a profound impact in present day, people's lives.
Totally. So we actually celebrated that with Monica, is my friend's name. Well, Monica, for 2 years. And then the next year we found ourselves in Hawaii, and we thought, let's keep this tradition going. We love this tradition. So we invited some people over and celebrated Dia De. We hosted the party that time. And that one was super cool because I remember we had friends over who had such diverse heritage. I remember one friend sharing stories of her, I think it was her grandparents that were in Japanese World War II internment camps in California, and sharing that story with the group and how that had impacted her parents and how she ultimately how she was raised. It was really inspiring to hear the different stories, and that's the thing about this family history night. It is so inspiring to hear these stories of not just I think especially your own family members, when you're recounting these stories, but also if you choose to include neighbors. It's so inspiring to hear about everyone's family and just the human spirit, I guess, of overcoming and resilience.
Yeah. And some people chose stories of their parent or grandparent who'd passed, just one generation removed. Some people chose stories of an ancestor that they had never known anything about until they started doing a little bit of family history research through Ancestry or talking to parents or family members I found the story of this aunt who was super awesome. Our recommendation would be that you involve your children in this, that even if you invite a family or some neighbors over, that it's not just the adults. You could do that, but to give your kids an opportunity to learn about a family member. Yeah, obviously you might have to help them do the research, and then give them an opportunity, if they're comfortable, sharing in front of a group of people, which I'm a big fan of kids talking in front of adults because I think it's such a great skill. But yeah, it could be one generation removed. It could be people you've never known anything about, but I think it's an opportunity for you to get in touch with your past. And again, the research on this is so compelling. And I just think in order for us to know who we are today and where we're headed, we have to have a sense of where we've come from.
I think too, if your kids a lot of people choose family names to name your children after, whether that's their first name or their middle name. I think this is a good opportunity to research maybe even that person. If you're at a loss, I don't even know who we would talk about, take some family names that maybe your kids have and let them start there. And I found our kids, when we do that, they've take real pride in knowing oh, this is where my name came from and this is who I'm named after. And that is really powerful.
And I would say if it feels overwhelming, just pick one name. Your family can just have one family member that you're going to talk about as a family, or even if you invite other families over, it doesn't have to be extensive. I think the point more than anything is we are going to set aside a night that's really special and sacred to our family, in which we honor our heritage. We honor where we've come from. That's the whole point. And it is wild how much, Melissa and I always talk about this, it's wild how much our kids want to know and almost yearn innately to like know where they come from and hear these stories. Like our kids will sit and listen to stories about family history or heritage, because I just think all of us, we have a desire to like feel like we belong and feel like we're part of something, and we yearn for like knowing where we come from, whether we're consciously aware of it or not.
I think that's a great point. What you're saying here is, we're going to share all these ideas and things we've done, but I love how you're bringing it back to like, it doesn't have to be all of that. Like it can be so simple. I remember this is probably a couple of years ago, maybe even last year. We were just busy and we didn't, invite anyone. I didn't send out an invitation at all. It was just like the day was upon us and I was like, shoot, I didn't prepare anything and I was feeling bad. But then I was like, I can pull up a picture of my grandpa who passed away a few years ago, and one thing knew him. And one thing that I always think about when I think about him is popcorn. He loved popcorn. And so I'm like, I'm going to pop some popcorn. I'm going to print out some pictures and I'm going to like tape them up on the wall. And for a minute, we're going to talk about him and his story and we're going to eat popcorn. And that's what the night looked like.
Yeah, it was cool. We talked about his life, some of his values, some of his work ethic, like what he stood for. And it was cool for our kids to get involved and talk about that. So the simplest way you could do this is watch the movie Coco together as a family. It's just a fun movie. It is. And you might watch it with from a little different lens, kind of knowing this, but watch the movie Coco together. Literally pick one ancestor or family member that you could talk about and maybe make a dessert or have some food that they liked or is from like their heritage. And like, that'd be an easy way. And if you're like, no, I'm going to go all out, throw a Dia De Los Muertos party. Like people would love coming to it. They'd have so much fun. And then prepare them ahead of time. Ask them to bring a story of a family member or as many family members as they want. And then set up a little ofrenda, put out their pictures and talk about them.
And I'm going to link, we have invited people over, as I mentioned before. And so I'm going to, in the show notes, I'm going to link to a Canva template. It's really cute for an invite. Like if you wanted to send a digital invite to some friends or neighbors and include them in your.
Yeah. Look, if you're one of those, like some families blow us away. They're like, you give an idea like this and tomorrow they've invited 13 neighbors over and everyone's faces are painted in the Dia De Los Muertos. It's like, we're not that family. We're like, but whatever you want to do with it, have fun, honor your heritage and your ancestors. And like I said, Melissa and I we've tried to do this, I think maybe more consistently, but we're not always great at it. So at a minimum, we know we use this holiday once a year, like at a minimum once a year, we're going to talk about our heritage. Hopefully we're talking about it more than that, but yeah, it's cool.
Okay. So to recap, watch the movie Coco. Check out, if you want to, that article, Stories That Bind Us. So good. A little more of the research here. And then celebrate Dia De Los Muertos in as extravagant or as simple way as you like. And of course, in today's day and age with like ChatGPT, you could like use that to your advantage here and be like, oh, I want to go all out or not. But you're sure to have an amazing experience sharing this family heritage with your kids and your family and your neighbors if you so choose.
All right. So that is it for today's episode of the Family Brand Podcast.
But before you go, we have something fun for you.
Yeah. Like if you've ever wondered, okay, so how's our family culture actually doing? We've got an incredible quiz for that.
Good news, it's quick, it's free, and when you're done with that quiz, we'll even email you this awesome PDF full of practical ways to strengthen your family culture right away.
So all you have to do is go to familybrand.com/quiz, take the quiz, grab the PDF.
We'll see you next time.